All right, so today I have the most techiest, geekiest, kind of specced out electric bike that I've used to date. This is the Urtopia E-Bike, and this bike comes in at $27.99, so right at $2,800. It's pretty expensive, so let's see what all you get with this thing. Now, the first main thing is that this bike is mostly made out of carbon fiber. I'm talking about the main frame, the seat post, the handlebars, and also the front fork. So you can see it is really easy to pick up, very lightweight. It only weighs around 33 pounds, so this is going to be a great bike for taking upstairs, especially if you want to keep this in your apartment, or if you do ride it to the office. It's very easy to move around. And in addition to being lightweight, carbon fiber is also going to be strong too. So it's a really nice looking bike, but it should be able to withstand some bumps and bruises. And yeah, this is just a really clean looking bike. And the only cables you see are the two brake cables up front. Everything else is internally routed throughout the bike. And you have some very clean lines. You got this cool little zigzag shape underneath the seat. So that really makes it stand out. And this bike also comes in 3 different colors. So the color I have here is Sirius, but it also comes in Lyra and also Midnight in Paris. And this bike comes in 2 different sizes, which is great just for having options of people of different height. So medium is going to be for people between 5'7" and 6'1", and large is going to be for people between 5'11" and 6'5". And the total weight capacity for this bike that it can handle is going to be 240 pounds. And then on the handlebars, we have what they call their smart bar display, which is a really clean design as it's built into the frame of the bike, unlike most other e-bikes where the display is going to be just on the outside bolted down. But this display looks really cool. It's an LED dot matrix screen, so it's plenty bright and direct sunlight. And then also on the left hand side of the handlebars, you do have up, down, left, right controls to be able to navigate the display. And then if that wasn't enough, this bike also has voice controls. So you can press down on one of the buttons and activate it, and you can tell it to turn the headlights on or to turn one of the blinkers on, because this bike does also have left-right blinkers in the back, and I'll show you that in a second. Now, the voice recognition mostly works when you are standing still, but when you are riding and you have a bunch of wind noise, sometimes it can have a hard time trying to pick up what you're trying to say. And ultimately, it is just easier to use the manual controls instead of trying to use your voice for this bike. So it's cool that it has it, and some people might use it more than I do, but I still find myself just using the manual physical controls. And then something else you don't see on every e-bike is a fingerprint scanner, which is on the right hand side of the handlebars. Place your thumb down on there, it will turn green when it correctly recognizes your fingerprint, and it will unlock the bike for you. So it works most of the time for me, so that is good. Then also this bike does have an anti-theft mode, so basically you can lock it, and if somebody was to like pick up your bike or move it around, it will have an alarm that does sound off. And then also there is a Urtopia app that you can download to be able to get notifications when your bike is being moved. And because this bike comes with an eSIM that allows for an always on 4G connection, you'll be able to get a notification when your bike is moved, and then also you'll be able to see it on a map and track it if someone is trying to steal it. Now, the eSIM that comes with it will last for 1 year, and if you do want to renew it, it will be an additional, I think, $28 or $29. So you don't have to do it, but you will be missing out on some of those GPS features. And you can choose to either have the GPS navigations pop up on the smart bar, or you can choose just to use them inside of the Urtopia app, and that will pull up a map that gives you way more detail than you get on your smart bar. And also you can go back and look at your previous trips and do this cool little playthrough, and it will go through your entire trip on the map. And then just for kicks, they also threw in haptic feedback. Yes, haptic feedback in the handlebars for this bike. So you get some of that feedback when you are navigating the settings, but this bike also does have something that will help you keep you safe, and it is called their Advanced Rear Early Indication System. So this will actually give you some haptic feedback when a vehicle is approaching you from behind. And when it comes to riding your bike in the street, any little bit of help when it comes to safety, I'll take it. Oh, and I have to say this bike came with the best packaging of any e-bike that I've gotten so far. There was no damage, everything was where it needed to be, and I really appreciated the detail that they went as far as the packaging. Now, one thing I will mention though is the fact that this does come with an air pump, which is good. I don't mind that, but I would rather have seen a kickstand come with this bike instead, because it's a nice looking bike, but out of the box you have to either lay it down on the ground or prop it up against the wall, and I don't want to damage it. So a kickstand would have been my #1 choice, but I do have a kickstand right here that comes from Urtopia that you can buy on their website, or you can get one of the similar ones on Amazon or something. But I'll definitely take a kickstand over a bike pump any day of the week. Now, some other accessories that you can get from the website include some mud guards. They do cost about $100 though, but if you want to be protected from the rain and stuff like that, as far as splashes of water on the ground, you can add those, and they do look pretty cool. Now, the seat that you see on the bike right now is not the stock seat. I'm about to show you that right now. And so the stock seat that you're looking at is just a little too small for me. I have a big butt, I know it, and that seat just is not comfortable for me. When I was going on my distance test, I just didn't like it. So I did swap it out for this Cloud 9 seat that you can get on Amazon as well. But on Urtopia's website, they also do sell an extra comfort saddle, which is going to be something similar to this. It's going to be wider and provide more cushion. Now, this tail light is really cool. So it's not a brake light, but it will light up when you do have the headlights on. And also something else is that it does have the left and right turn signals built into it as well. And these aren't your typical turn signals. These are actually projection lights that project down onto the ground. So it doesn't really work in the daytime. You're not really going to be able to see it. But if you are riding at night, people will be able to see on the ground whether you're trying to turn left or right. And so it's very cool. I don't know if it's better than some more practical ones where the turn signals are going to be like underneath the seat, but it is something else that does make this bike really stand out and be really techy and really in a league of its own. And now let's talk about power. So this bike comes with a 250 watt motor in the rear wheel. So this is not a super powerful motor, but it is something that is very efficient. So this is a bike that is not meant to allow you to, race cars or anything. It's going to get you up to around a top speed of 20 miles per hour, which is going to be legal in most places to ride almost everywhere. But one thing I like about it is that it forces me to have to pedal and also get a little bit of a workout in because it does not have a throttle. And I found that because this bike also has a torque sensor, which is a better sensor to be able to kind of keep pace when you are pedaling. So it's a smoother transition as it's going through all the different speed levels that it does have. That torque sensor along with this motor allow for a very smooth ride. And because this bike doesn't have any gears, meaning that you can't go into a low gear to help you get up a hill when you're pedaling, the torque sensor is incredibly crucial here to allow that pedaling experience to be as good as it can be in situations where you need to get a lot of power. And this bike also has 5 speed modes. So you have pedal, which is just going to be pedaling just using your own human power. And then you have eco, comfort, and sport, which are going to be the main 3 levels of pedal assist. And then you also have turbo mode, which is going to be the fastest. But of course, you have to be careful going turbo mode because that will eat up your battery a little bit more. And speaking of battery, this does have an integrated battery that's very easy to take on and off with the included key, but it is a 360 watt hour battery that does support fast charging. So you can go from 0 to 100 in just about 2.5 hours. All right, so I'm out here in Forest Park, St. Louis, about to do a quick little distance test. So it's about to get dark out here. So we'll see if I can ride all the way down to 0% on battery. But if not, I'll just kind of keep track of me starting at 100% and how many miles I can get. And we can kind of do an estimate with that as far as the distance. But yeah, I'm going to be also using the Urtopia app that you can download. And this allows you to connect to the bike via Bluetooth and can give you information as far as like tracking your rides automatically. So you can see your distance travel, your average speed and stuff like that. But also you can use this to be able to upgrade the firmware and the software for the bike that will be adding features and little enhancements over time. And the app itself is pretty slick. I would say that the map tracking sometimes doesn't always kind of keep you on the exact path of where you are. But as far as like being able to track exactly how far you've gone and stuff, it's been pretty accurate with that. So yeah, anyway, let me go ahead and get on this bike and start riding and see how far we can get. All right, so that completes my distance test. Now the battery isn't completely dead, it's right at 50%. And according to the app, I got right over 19 miles for this test. So if you double that, you're looking at around 40 miles that I can get, weighing about 220 pounds or so, and a camera backpack with some camera equipment in it. And I kept it at pedal assist level 3, so that's right below the turbo mode. So that's the highest normal mode. So I was able to get some decent speeds on it, at least like 20 miles per hour. But when I was going downhill, I was able to get up to around like 25 miles per hour on this bike. And so now your distance may vary depending on how much you weigh, what type of terrain you're going to be riding on, the wind and stuff like that. But for me, 40 miles out of this was actually going to be more than I would ever actually ride in one single trip. So I'm happy with the distance. Now this bike does have a walking mode, so you press and hold down on the right arrow button and that will activate the motor. It'll give it a little bit of power to be able to help the bike kind of push itself along gently alongside you. And this is good, especially if you are going up some of these steep hills where you can't just pedal up yourself. Enabling this walking mode can help you out. Now, the tires on this bike are relatively thin, so they're made for hard pavement and surfaces like that. I mean, you can go into grass, but don't expect to do any type of hardcore off-roading. But the front tire does have a quick release, so it makes it very easy to take that front tire off and load it up into your car. And oh, I almost forgot to mention that this bike also comes with a Gates carbon belt instead of your traditional chain. So this means that you don't have to kind of keep maintaining it as far as like lubing it up and cleaning it off and stuff. So this Gates carbon belt as is will last you for, I think, around like 18,000 miles before you need to change it out. So that definitely gives you a peace of mind when it comes to maintenance. All right, so look, $2,800 is definitely an investment. And if you're still watching this video and you're still interested in buying this bike, I think it's gonna come down to how much do you value the features that this bike does have. I mean, some of these tech features are really cool, like the built-in GPS navigation with that always-on 4G connection, some of those anti-theft features, and even the turn signals. I haven't seen those before, and they work really well. It's something just definitely unique with this bike. And you have to remember that carbon fiber isn't cheap, and so it's going to allow the bike to be lightweight and also durable. And all of those things combined make this bike a little bit different from everything else in this type of style of e-bike that is out there. So I'll leave a link down below in the description of this video if you are interested in checking out this bike and maybe buying it for yourself. But in the comments below, let me know what you think about this bike. But I'm about to head out of here. It's kind of getting dark out here, and so I'm gonna head home. But I want to thank you for watching this video, and I will catch you later. Peace.